Yes. So we have studied about various biophysical process for the movement of material from one part of the plant to another part of the plant. And this is transportation in plants. So in this unit, you have so far studied about what is the meaning of diffusion, what is active transport, what do you mean by osmotic process, and we have studied detail about osmotic mechanism with a suitable illustration. Then we have studied about what is the meaning of plasma lysis. So the plasma lysis is very important neat question also. They will ask, when a cell is placed in hypotonic medium, what will happen? When a cell is placed in hypotonic medium, the cell will bulges or cell will shrink or the cell remains same. So from these, what is the answer you are supposed to take it out? When the cell is placed in hypotonic medium, water move from hypotonic medium to the cell. So the cell bulges and it bursts. So the cell will burst is the right answer. So here in plasma lysis, the cell is placed in hypotonic medium. When the cell is placed in hypotonic medium, now it loses water. So the plasma membrane undergoes shrinkage. And that is called the plasma lysis. So that we have seen in a detailed way. Then we have studied about what is the meaning of imbibition and movement of substances or water by means of apoplast pathway and symplast pathway, and what is the difference between these two, that we have studied in a detail. Now let's see the transpiration. I told you transpiration is the loss of water through aerial part of the plant, and I told you three types of transpiration: stomatal transpiration, cuticular transpiration, lenticular transpiration. So here stomatal transpiration given in a detailed account. So the first paragraph related to transpiration is related to stomatal transpiration. So what is stomatal transpiration? Stomata is the minute opening present at the base of the leaves through which loss of water takes place. So here this is the structure of stomata. So when you see the point to guard cells, the guard cells consist of enormous size vacuole, then in nucleus and other cytoplasmic organelles are present in guard cells. When the guard cells are turgid, the stomata will open. So loss of water takes place. Are placed in the water molecules are very close. The opening and closing the guard cells is not specify the opening of the stomata. So stomatal transpiration. Cuticular transpiration is saying that leaves are surrounded by cuticle. Through the aerial part, stem cuticle may covered by cuticle. Through that part, the loss of water. That is another type of transpiration. Then what is lenticular transpiration? In some cases, now when you see certain plants, some amount of water leaks take place, a small holes that is called transpiration. The loss of water through aerial part is denoted as transpiration. Right, with that we have completed transpiration. Now what are the important transpiration? Why transpiration plants? So here transpiration create transpirational pull for the transport of. As a result of transpiration, now the water absorb, root absorb by means of osmotic process. Transpiration pull is created. Raising of water will be created. Second, it supply water photosynthesis of transpiration. Water, the various part of the leaf is utilized Then transportation of mineral from soil also achieved by transpiration. Then cool the surface of the leaves by evaporation. Are located in sunlight. During that time, and it is what plays that nature is achieved by means of shape, cell, shape. So it cools and hence maintain their shape. Cell, importance of transpiration. Ask in 4-mark question, what is transpiration? Write the importance of transpiration. In 2-mark question, they will ask, draw the diagram of stomata when it is open and stomata when it is closed and label the parts. So these are very important in the diagram parts. Right. With that, we have completed transpiration. Now let's see what is root. This is another 2-mark question. So you know the root pressure, as ion from soil are actively transported into vascular tissue of the root, water moves along and increases the pressure inside the xylem. This pressure is called the root pressure. See in page number 203 in the book, the definition is given. You just write the definition as it is in the book. When the ions along with water moves from soil root, through root air, it reaches. So in xylem, pressure, that pressure is there. As a result of root pressure, what happened? Now pushing water to somewhat higher. There. Now what is called root pressure? This is 2-mark question. Just note down. Question, what is called root pressure? Uptake of minerals. So here uptake of mineral take place by means of 2 factors. So plant depend on mineral from soil for its nutrition, micronutrient, macronutrient. It requires micronutrients are obtained through water. So the soil contains enormous amount of nutrients. Nutrients enter into the plant body along with these nutrients reaches are absorbed by the root. So 2 factors account for this. The minerals are present in the soil as charged particles that cannot move across the cell membrane. The mineral salt are charged, positively charged particle and negatively charged particle. They cannot. Mineral in the soil is usually than the concentration of mineral. Most minerals the root by active transportation only. Low to high concentration. Here it to transport process will concentration by utilization. Some sort of on the surface of concentration to concentration. The particle cannot move Soil contains less amount of mineral when compared to mineral salt. Here hydrogenation process takes place. So the movement in the same way. Here, what is the role of them? Phosphorus, nitrogen easily mobilized. Are remobilized from older dying leaves. Older leaves, it moves mobilized. Some minerals like they are not remobilized. Small amount of material exchange take place between element flow. The functions of phloem. It conducts organic food. Organic food. Plant synthesize glucose is converted into sucrose. Then sucrose is transported into the plant body from leaves. So leaves is the source. Source is nothing but where photosynthesis takes place in the plant body. That is the source. Then the sink. Storage part in leaves or stem or in food materials are transported to some other regions of the plant where it is stored. So organic sucrose transported from source into sink. That is transport. Now this is also called a source sink relationship. What is called source sink relationship? Source sink relationship. This is 2 markers. What is the meaning of source sink relationship? Nothing but exercise by means of photosynthetic activity in plant. Nothing but it is a phase of requirement of that particular part of the carbohydrates or sucrose are transported to relationship of movement process. This is why I am there. Movement of organic food material from lower to lower or in the later section leaves to root from one part of the leaves into upper plant body. So it is bidirectional. Of tissue means of water movement in xylem takes place by unidirectional in the sense that movement of water in only one direction. So aerial part of the plant. That is unidirectional. Of course, plants. Percent of sap No doubt. Accent of sap. Accent of the movement of accent of upward movement of accent in the sense using so water and mineral salts move. A number of factors play. It takes caption, adhesion, cohesion. These are what is called the root pressure. Water from soil enter into root air. Root pressure is responsible for movement of water to the upper capillary action in liquid water or liquid raise in a when a capillary tube is placed in water tube that is called the same xylem part of the water raise part transpiration pull create the vacuum which create a suction called various and mineral movement takes place in the plant. So that is why it is denoted as transportation in. With that, we completed transportation in plant. Discuss more things of actual of sap. Way. What is circulation in animals. That we will see a detailed way. Coming out of material. Circulation. Circulatory system. Component of circulatory system. Now the component of circulatory system.
Master.
Arteries, veins, and capillaries. So these are all the blood vessels. Then this is followed by lymphatic vessels or lymph vessels. Lymph and its vessels, lymphatic vessels. These are all the component of circulatory system. The term circulation was first coined by William Harvey in 1628. One more question. Who coined the term circulation first? William Harvey in 1628. So here these are all the component of circulatory system. Now let's see one by one. First let's take blood. What is the composition of blood? So this we will study in a detailed way. First of all, the function of circulatory system in animals. So in animals, circulation plays very important role for the transportation of material. For example, our digestive system digest food material. That food materials are transported to various parts of the body by means of blood. It is mixed with the plasma of the blood, then it is transported. Then we are respiring gas, oxygen. That oxygen mixed with the blood. In RBC, hemoglobin carry oxygen and it is transported to different part of the body. Then it bring out carbon dioxide. So blood transport gases. Then in each and every cell, waste materials are produced in the form of urea, uric acid, and other nitrogenous waste products are eliminated by means of metabolic activity. That metabolic products are transported to the kidney by means of blood. So circulatory system transport waste materials. The circulatory system also transport hormones from endocrine gland into various parts of the body. The hormones which are secreted from endocrine gland are transported to target tissue. Likewise, materials from one region of the body transported into another region, as it is in the case of plant, how nutrient and water transported from one region into another region. So here, let's see the composition of blood. Very important 5-mark question. Composition of blood. You know well about blood is the liquid tissue. It is a connective tissue, fluid connective tissue, liquid tissue. Now, it is divided into two major constituents. The liquid part of the blood is plasma. It constitutes about 55%. Now imagine, let us take 100 ml of blood. 55 ml of blood is plasma, liquid part of the blood. The remaining 45 ml of blood is formed elements. What is called formed elements? The formed elements are nothing but the solid parts or corpuscle cells. It comes under 45%. So the blood can be divided into two major portions. So we have 5 to 6 liter of blood. So here the blood consists of two major portions, liquid part and solid part. Liquid part is the plasma, which constitute about 55%. Solid part 45%. Now again, plasma can be further divided into, here water, it ranges into 90%. Now the 58% should be converted into 100. In that part, 90% ranges into water and remaining things are organic and inorganic substances. Organic and inorganic substances. The organic substances in the same way, here plasma protein, serum albumin. Now imagine, very important. In the entrance point of view, they will ask serum albumin, serum albumin, serum globulin, and serum fibrinogen, These are all the plasma proteins. These plasma protein plays a vital role. For example, serum albumin regulate osmotic pressure of the cell. Now, how it maintain water level in the cell. So we have constant amount of water inside the cell as well as outside the cell, and this is regulated by means of serum albumin. And serum globulin, it produces antibody. It protects our body by producing antibody. That antibodies are used to kill the pathogens. So it is involved in protecting our body from infection. Then serum fibrinogen, it take part in blood clotting process. So these are all plasma proteins. Organic material comes under plasma. Along with the plasma, you can find nitrogenous waste material, enzymes, nutrients like glucose, amino acid, then certain fatty materials. Nitrogenous waste product also mixed with the plasma part of the blood. So the plasma part of the blood contain organic and inorganic substances like sodium, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, phosphorus. All are present in the plasma part of the blood. It is star-colored fluid. Now it has got hormones also, enzymes also, vitamins, minerals, everything found in the plasma part of the blood. Write a note on plasma part of the blood. When they ask in 2 mark question, you are supposed to write these answers. What is plasma? Yes, you have completed that. Now let's see the formed elements of blood. What are all the formed elements? The formed elements are RBC, WBC and platelets. Here it is divided into 3 major regions. RBC, red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, WBC, and platelets. So likewise, 3 major components are coming under formed elements. Now let's see one by one. What is the function of RBC? The RBC, it is erythrocytes. The scientific name of RBC is erythrocytes. The erythrocytes are disc-shaped, circular, biconcave in nature. See the size. Disc-shaped, circular, biconcave. The RBC of mammals, particularly human beings, do not contain nucleus. Nucleus is absent. During the formation, RBC contain nucleus. When RBC mature, nucleus lost, degenerated. That is why our RBCs are denoted as eunucleated RBC. Eunucleated RBC. What is the meaning of eunucleated RBC? During the formation, RBC contain nucleus. Later, nucleus lost. Why RBC do not contain nucleus? It has to accommodate enormous amount of hemoglobin in it. So, the space is fully occupied by hemoglobin, Hg, hemoglobin, RBC, red blood cells. It is red in color due to the presence of hemoglobin. What is hemoglobin? It is a respiratory pigment. It is responsible for transport of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide are transported from lungs into various parts of the cell by means of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the respiratory pigment. Right, this is the structure of RBC. Hemoglobin carry oxygen molecule from lungs into the tissue. It gives oxygen into the tissue, pick up carbon dioxide, then bring the carbon dioxide into the lungs. So that is the role of RBC. These RBCs are formed from bone marrow. They are formed from bone marrow, red bone marrow. Bone marrow in the sense that when you take the section of bone, inside you can find the spongy like appearances, red, pink, spongy like appearances are called bone marrow. That is the place in which RBCs are produced, WBCs are produced, even platelets also formed in bone marrow. All the three blood cells are formed from bone marrow. The lifespan of RBC is 120 days. 120 days. In ladies, the lifespan is 110 days. In gents, it is 120 days. The number of RBC, 5 to 5.5 million. 5 to 5.5 million in 1 cubic mm of blood. That is the total count of RBC. The total count of RBC ranges into 5 to 5.5 million in 1 cubic millimeter of blood. If RBC number is very less, we will have anemia. Anemia, you know well about the meaning of anemia. Anemia is nothing but RBC is very less. So it leads lethargic condition. We are not so active. Lethargy. Now when the RBC's number are beyond the normal limits, increase the number of RBC beyond the normal limit is denoted as polycythemia. What is called polycythemia? Increase the number of RBC. When RBC number is more than that of the normal, this condition is called polycythemia. Polycythemia condition is sometimes noticed when we are living in higher altitudes. Those who are living in hilly areas, upper hilly areas, they are having more amount of RBCs than that of the person who are living in the normal plateau area. So these increased number of RBC from the average is a condition called polycythemia. When more amount of RBC is present throughout longer duration, it leads deleterious consequences. It may block blood vessels. It blocks the blood flow. So it leads to death also. So polycythemia, increased number of RBC. Anemia, decreased number of RBC. These are all very notable terms. That is given in the box in your book. Go through that also. They will ask in one more question also. Right. This is regarding RBC. So RBC plays very important role in transport of gases. RBCs are formed from bone marrow. They are, their lifespan of RBC is 120 days, and they are destroyed in liver and spleen. In liver and spleen, RBCs are destroyed. The breakdown products of RBC, the hemoglobin broken down into pigments called bilirubin and biliverdin. That bilirubin and biliverdin are transported as the waste material. It comes to the urinary system. It mixed with the urine. Then urine comes out. The urine is yellow in color due to the presence of pigment called urobilinogen. Bilirubin. A toilet is also somewhat yellow in color. That is also due to the presence of these bile pigments. Bile pigments like bilirubin and biliverdin are the breakdown products of hemoglobin. That hemoglobins are destroyed in liver and spleen. So RBCs are destroyed in liver and spleen. So this is what RBC. So they will ask, write a note on RBC. RBCs are circular, disc shaped, concave, biconcave in nature. They do not have nucleus. Initially they have nucleus. When it matures, nucleus are completely absent. So that is the thing. Why it lost its nucleus at maturity? It has to accommodate enormous amount of hemoglobin. Now its size and disc-shaped structure enable for free movement in the lumen of the blood vessels. That is why it is disc-shaped, biconcave. Biconcave nature, disc-shaped appearance and absence of nucleus plays very important role for its movement and also to accommodate enormous amount of hemoglobin. So this is about the RBC structure. Now let's see the WBC. Now the WBC is white blood corpuscles or leukocytes. In leukocytes, see here there are 5 types: basophil, eosinophil, neutrophil, lymphocyte, monocyte. The diagram is given in your book. Go through that. Each and every WBC take part in protecting our body from infection. WBCs are formed from bone marrow. Their number ranges into 5,000 to 10,000 in 1 cubic millimeter of blood. The WBCs are grouped into 2 categories. One is granulocyte, another one is agranulocytes. Granulocyte in the sense that nothing but the WBC, when you see the structure of WBC, it has got number of granules in the cytoplasm and nucleus is somewhat many lobed. Many lobes are present in nucleus. Cytoplasmic granules are present, granulocytes. The granulocytes are neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil. Agranulocytes, cytoplasm do not contain granules, granules less in number, nucleus is single lobed. Okay. Now their differential count also given in your book. Neutrophil, it take part in infection and inflammation, 60 to 65% of total leukocyte contain neutrophils. Likewise, eosinophil, it take part in allergy and parasitic infections. 2 to 3% of leukocytes are present in total count eosinophils. The basophils are 1%, 0.5 to 1%. It take part in inflammation. The agranulocytes, they are given lymphocytes and monocytes. Go through that in careful way. 20 to 25% ranges into lymphocyte. That plays very important role in antibody production. That antibodies are used to protect our body from diseases. Then monocytes, 5 to 6% of total leukocytes. When you take 100 leukocytes, definitely 5 to 6 number of leukocytes are belonging to monocytes. It engulfs bacteria. So all the WBCs plays very important role in killing the pathogens. Then the last one is platelets, thrombocytes. The thrombocytes take part in coagulation of blood clotting process. Its number ranges into 2,50,000 to 4 lakhs. So with that, we have completed composition of blood. So in the next class, we will study about the detailed account about what are the various types of blood vessel and the structure of human heart. And other thing we will revise in the next class also. Right. Thank you to all.